So I just stopped, but I was going through my Google Drive trying to clear out some space because it was like 90 of the 100 gigabytes were full, and it kept giving me a warning for like over 6 months. But I was going through it, and I was going through large file sizes and things that I could just delete. And as I was going through it, I stumbled upon the photos from my like freshman year of college. I try to kind of ignore these photos, and it's interesting because when I was taking them, I think when I went out to the parties or we had fun, my friends at the time, um, I always took photos thinking like we're gonna look back on these and this is gonna be great. But I still have all of them, and I refuse to look back on them. And I don't know if anyone relates to this, but I feel that feeling a lot with any photo I take in general on a trip. Looking back in the past is just kind of, if it's a good memory, it can be painful. And when it comes to like that time of my life, that was probably the most high octane and best I've ever felt. I would hate to say I peaked there. I don't think I peaked in college, God help me, but I think it was the last time I felt that pure and that safe, you could say, which was wild because the college I went to was, it was in the same state, but it was in the city. I moved out for the first time ever, and I was doing awesome. And it wasn't doing bad in school. Like, for context, like, I had never really done good in school. I tried, um, and you can say like I'm just a fucking bozo, and I never figured it out. I didn't figure it out for a long time. Junior senior year, I really locked the fuck in, and I was able to pull through with a decent enough GPA to go to get accepted into college and get some good decent SAT scores from my end. Beyond that, I just never really did good in school until that time. And going into my freshman year of college, I was like telling myself, I was hyping myself up like these are college courses. This isn't high school. It's like everything that every high school teacher tells you is like they're not gonna hand out pencils in college, guys. They're not gonna hand out pencils. Like you come to class in college pencilless, you're fucked. You're not taking the test. That that isn't the case because I think anyone you turn to with a backpack be like, yeah, I'll give you a pen. Here you go. I was I'm getting really off track. The I was looking at these photos, and that time in my life, I made Dean's List. Unheard of for me. I made Dean's List, and I had a friend group that wasn't, the best, but they were fun to be around, and it was fun for the time because it was like freedom to do whatever, and not only do whatever, but I was doing well. Like I was fucking off and partying all the time, but I was maintaining a 4.0 GPA. It was insane what I was doing. Insane. And I wasn't like I was doing a lot of prerequisites because I went in undecided, which I think played a role, but I was like taking like classes. I was getting A's in classes like everyone was failing. And I don't know how I did it. I don't know. I'm sitting here and I'm looking at these photos, and I get this pit, this absolute pit in my stomach of just pure like I don't know what to call it, like self-hatred. It's not that, but it's like just regret, regretting missing those times, and it's a terrible feeling because I know I'm never gonna get those times back, and I knew during those times of where I was doing super well with partying, it wasn't gonna last. Like that wasn't real life. You don't live in dorms your whole life. You don't go and party every day your whole life. But that was my reality for the time being, and it was the happiest. And I didn't. I knew there was gonna be a come down, but I didn't realize the fall that was awaiting me beyond that time. Because I thought I was gonna skate by pretty well in school, and I in fact did really bad my sophomore year, and worse my junior year, and I just kind of gave up by my senior year. I graduated, but I was kind of a screw out. Like I scooted out, kind of. I hitched it back off AI and um, what that. I went from high aspirations and high goals to like just get me out of here and get me a job so I can make money. And I was failing, you know. I went to go for a bio major, and I had too much on my plate. I was just putting myself in. I was in a relationship that wasn't good for me, and it just kind of nailed me into the floor a little bit. You know, I talk on this like it is like I'm a fucking bum. I'm a bum and a bozo who doesn't have a job. Like I have worked the past year like 60-hour weeks at a full-time job and a part-time job, and like I wasn't a bum, but I make myself sound like I was a bum. Like I have a beautiful girlfriend. I have a full-time job, part-time job, but I still feel empty. I still feel that. I look back on those photos and I just think my life was so full back then, full of friends. Maybe now I know a lot of those people weren't exactly the best of friends, but still, like they were full of friends. I don't talk to anyone from that time today. Some on my own behalf and some not. But I just don't. I talk more people from my sophomore year, but dude, I just like, I'm not a loser. I don't feel like, but I feel like a loser. It's weird, man. I have a full-time job. I have a beautiful girlfriend who gets me, understands me. I work out a lot. I do a lot of like stuff I should do, but I still feel like such a fucking waste. I don't feel like I think I'm supposed to feel. Like I don't feel fulfilled in the slightest. This was a nonsensical rant, and I don't know could possibly relate, but I'm 23 years old. I work 2 full-time jobs. I just took a new job for a better pay, and it's not terrible. Like I'm not in the worst. There are definitely people in this world that are in a lot worse positions than I am. But personally, I feel so empty. So empty when I look back on these photos.